sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Wisconsin.
This long road trip comes to an end today in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. It has been a bumpy three-city trip, to say the least, for the Brewers. But today, a chance to beat the Nationals and win the series and go back to Miller Park on a good note. They're getting ready for a weekend set against the now first-place Chicago Cubs. The Brewers losing last night while the Cubs beat the crosstown rival White Sox. So a half game separating those teams. Michael Blazek, after 10 starts at AAA, gets his first big league start here today for the Milwaukee Brewers, and he has quite a draw here today, facing last year's Cy Young winner Max Scherzer, who's making a strong push to be this year's Cy Young winner as well. Hello from Nationals Park, alongside Bill Schroeder. I'm Matt LePay. Sophia Minert is our reporter. Well, Clayton Kershaw putting together a great year. Obviously, he is on the shelf for the time being. The Rock Max Scherzer coming off a Cy Young winning season last year, and you can make a strong argument he's been even better, at least to this point this year.
Yeah, this is one of these guys that moves the needle. I mean, he brings people to the ballpark, and when you're facing Max Scherzer, especially with a young team like the Brewers, I mean, you get up for games like this. I mean, there's nobody better, one of the better right-handers in all of baseball, two-time Cy Young Award winner, 8 more strikeouts, and he'll have 200 for the 6th consecutive year. This guy has all the pitches. You figure the Brewers better be aggressive in the count because he doesn't walk anybody. He strikes out a lot of batters, so the deeper into the count the Brewers allow him to get, the tougher he becomes. This is going to be a good test for this young Brewers offense.
Scherzer will give up the big fly, and the Brewers know how to hit the big fly. We'll see if they have a few in them here today as the Brewers and Nats wrap up the road trip with a crew. First pitch coming up. The temperatures will climb into the mid to upper 80s as Max Scherzer ready to go to work. First pitch is a ball, and we are underway at Nationals Park as Eric Sogard, he And Jonathan Villar playing tag team here lately, but both in the lineup here today. We'll set you that lineup here momentarily as Scherzer evens the count on a fastball, 1-1.
Well, numbers jump off the page at you. I mean, 11-5, 226 earned run average. That ERA second to Clayton Kershaw in the National League. I mean, first in strikeouts, first in opponent batting average. So the Brewers certainly have their work cut out for him today.
His numbers even better than last year when he won his second Cy Young Award. Sogard in his first week back off the disabled list with the ankle injury. He's been in the lineup every other day beginning last weekend in Philadelphia. As he gets the call here against Scherzer, excuse me, I'll wake up. Max Scherzer. It's not that difficult. Been around for a while.
It is early. It is early. Just
very
had
early.
breakfast.
That's right. Sogard at short today. Jonathan Villar at second. 2-2 pitch to the first batter of the day. A fastball missing and a full count to Eric Sogard.
Yeah, Craig Counsell has every one of his left-handed batters in the lineup here today, and that's a good thing because of that wipeout slider that Max Scherzer possesses.
He's trying to snap back. Led most of the way last night, but a big eighth inning for the Nationals. The difference, and that was a swing and a miss. Change for the first out of the day. Let's check out the Brewers batting order presented by Potawatomi. Eric Thames will hit second. Domingo Santana third. Travis Shaw hitting cleanup, followed by Hernan Perez. He's in left for Ryan Braun today. Jonathan Villar. Lewis Brinson hit his first home run last night. Jet Bandy hits eighth. Michael Blazek rounding out the Brewers batting order here today. There's Eric Thames back in the lineup here today. He gave way to Jesus Aguilar last night against the left-handed starter Gio Gonzalez. Council's team had a very good pitching performance from Jimmy Nelson last night, but the Nationals offense finally broke through. And broke through in a big way. A 7-run eighth inning last night.
And Brewers had a 2-1 lead going into the bottom of the eighth inning. That evaporated quickly.
The Brewers started to make it really interesting in the top of the ninth, scoring 3 times. They were one hitter away from bringing the tying run to the plate. Sean Doolittle was able to get back-to-back strikeouts of Jonathan Villar and Domingo Santana. And the Nationals were able to secure that 8-5 win. It was a good pitching duel between Gonzalez and Jimmy Nelson. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Eric Thames.
Yeah, the Brewers have had 2 very good starts in this series. Zach Davies, Jimmy last night. They just weren't able to hold on. Bullpen has had a couple of meltdowns on this road trip.
There's Thames sending one into left center field. On the run, Adam Lind, and he will get there, grinding away out in left field for out number 2.
Well, he's made all the plays out there. He started all 3 games. Just check out the rest of the Menards defense for the Nationals. You saw Adam Lind with a pretty nice catch out there in the gap in left center. Goodwin, Harper in the outfield. Rendon, Defoe, Murphy, Zimmerman from third to first, and Jose Lobaton behind home plate. Matt Wieters gets today off.
Dusty Baker pretty much going with the same lineup, the strongest lineup he has available. They have a number of injuries. We've talked about it during the course of this series. Domingo Santana settles in. He began his night last evening in a very impressive way, launching a long home run over the left field bleachers. Brewers scoring twice in the first inning. Unfortunately, they were quiet the rest of the way until the 9th. Scherzer, as Rock mentioned, giving us that strikeout total, closing in on 200 already, and we're not even through the month of July. 2 losing decisions against the Brew Crew last year,
including a 1-0 loss to Junior Guerra right here in Washington on 4th of July last year. He's pitched well, but he's lost his last 2 against Milwaukee.
Gave up 3 home runs in the 2 outings against the Brewers a year ago. It was a mix and match lineup, especially at Miller Park. The outfield trio, that June matchup in Milwaukee against Scherzer, was made up of Kirk Neuenhuis, Alex Presley, and Ramon Flores. Neuenhuis took Scherzer deep. We mentioned that because the Brewers mixing and matching a little bit here this afternoon with Braun out of the lineup. And Jet Bandy behind the plate. He and Pena tag team it. Pena gets a little more time, but
and Arcia not in the starting lineup today.
His team wrapping up this 10-game road trip, and it has been a rugged one. And through it all, they are still in the thick of it, a half game behind the Cubs, and they will see the Cubs at Miller Park this weekend. A swing and a miss on a changeup and a couple of strikeouts in this first inning for Max Scherzer as the Brewers go down in order. We'll see what Blazek has in store today in D.C. Milwaukee Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light beer. By Hupy and Abraham, voted best, rated best. Hupy and Abraham, tell them you mean business. And by Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Brewers go down in order at the top of the first inning. Couple of strikeouts already for Max Scherzer. Milwaukee Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Let the games begin. Let's check out the Nationals batting order presented by Potawatomi. Brian Goodwin, Wilmer Defoe, Bryce Harper, 1, 2, 3. Ryan Zimmerman hits cleanup, followed by Daniel Murphy and Anthony Rendon. Adam Lind, hitting 7th. Jose Lobaton 8th. Scherzer rounding out the batting order against Michael Blazek, getting his first big league start. A sizable stage he is on, going up against Scherzer.
Yeah, 4 appearances with the Brewers this year. Second stint with Milwaukee, has not allowed a run. Made 10 starts down in AAA. Last 9 were starts, and last time he made a start was a good one, but that was a month ago. That was June 28th. 7 2/3, no runs, and really no restrictions on Blazek here today, according to his pitching coach. See how long he can go.
Brian Goodwin, a big part of that 8th inning last night. He had punched out his first 3 at bats and was able to bounce a double over the glove of Jesus Aguilar. That was one of several key hits in that inning. And the leadoff walk in that 8th got it started. It was the last hitter that Jimmy Nelson faced, and then, as Rock mentioned, the bullpen knocked around a bit. Jacob Barnes and Jared Hughes specifically, although Josh Hader came in and at the time, got a monster strikeout with the go-ahead run at third. He was able to punch out Bryce Harper. Harper, who chirped after the first strike call went against him, had a meltdown of his own after the at-bat. That was a big moment for Hader in an otherwise very, very tough inning.
Yeah, that was an interesting at-bat, but you know, all is forgotten. Bryce Harper back in the starting lineup.
Goodwin sends one out to left field, hit it well on the run. It goes over the head of Hernan Perez, and Goodwin begins the home half of the first with a double.
And that ball carried pretty well out there in left field. Looked like he was a little bit off balance on the swing, just carrying over the head of Hernan Perez. Check out the swing. I mean, just kind of one hands it, kind of drops the head of the bat on it, just carries out there into left field over the head of Perez for a leadoff double. You know, that 8th inning for the Nationals really brings to light how good Jimmy Nelson was last night, and Davies the night before, because this is one heck of an offense here in Washington.
Yeah, they lead the league in a number of categories. The Brewers had kept the Nats off the board until the 7th inning last night. Daniel Murphy with the home run. Of course, Davies, with help from Oliver Drake, had a shutout on Tuesday night. Wilmer Defoe trying to bunt first base side, no play at third. The throw over to the covering VR for the out.
Yeah, pretty close.
Very close. Defoe would like a second opinion there. Goodwin able to advance to third.
And Nationals are taking a look at it in the clubhouse. Little hesitation. Yeah, he's out. I'm not sure what he's squawking about. That's not even close. But a good bunt. Let's check out the defense, the Menards defense from Milwaukee. Perez, Brinson, Santana in the outfield. You got Shaw Sogard getting a start at shortstop. No Orlando Arcia. VR Thames on the right. And Jet Bandy gets the day game today here in Washington.
There's Bryce Harper with one out, and Brian Goodwin, the runner at third. Harper enters the game with an 18-game hitting streak, and he turns on one here deep to right field, and it is 2-0 Nationals. Bryce Harper wasting no time today. Home run number 26.
And a lot of those home runs that come in the first inning. The Nationals jump on Blazek quickly. A 2-0 lead. And when you're facing Max Scherzer, obviously you don't want to fall too far behind. Well, fastball up, 91 miles an hour, and Bryce Harper knocks it out of here.
Last night the Brewers got the early jump. Today it's the Nationals. He is in the thick of it for the MVP award is Harper, an award he won 2 years ago. He was really snapped back from a tough year for him in 2016. Ryan Zimmerman at the plate. He had the hit last night that gave the Nats the lead for good in that 8th inning. 2-run double.
And that was with 2 outs off of Jared Hughes, who had come into the game to face him. Not a bad pitch either from Hughes. Fastball outside corner, went right down the line and right.
Swing and a miss. Bandy will secure the strikeout. There are 2 men out in the first.
Blazek with a fastball. He can reach mid-90s when he reaches back. You figure he's going to try and pace himself a little bit starting today. Curveball slider, and he came up with a changeup down in the minor leagues when he was starting in AAA.
We'll face Daniel Murphy. Next to no sample sizes here in Blazek matchups against Nationals hitting here today. Murphy last night homered. It was his 17th of the year. Toughest man in the National League to strike out.
And he hit a good pitch off of Jimmy Nelson. You know, a little bit off the inside corner last night.
A 1-2 count knocked it out of the ballpark.
He's been tearing it up as a National. This is the second year for him, coming over from the Mets. Goes the other way down the line, but this will slice out of play.
What do you think? You like the noon start?
I'm liking it.
Especially on getaway day, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're a morning guy, aren't
Just
you?
get up. I used to be.
You're not a night owl.
Until I was trying to pronounce Max Scherzer. I knew I was one cup of coffee short today.
Three's a charm.
That's right.
You got it.
Just slow down. Yeah, get up and go.
No.
Reminds me of those 11 a.m. football games I'll have coming up.
Yeah, they're coming
soon.
up.
Yeah.
Actually, that game we were talking about was Scherzer losing on 4th of July. I think that was an 11 o'clock start here in Washington.
Yeah, Eastern. Little breakfast with the Brewers back home. Or brunch anyway. If the Brewers can find a way to get to Scherzer today, it would be a sweet conclusion to a real tough trip. And there's a strikeout there for Blazek. Changeup getting Daniel Murphy. So a couple of strikeouts for Blazek, but gives up a 2-run bomb as Bryce Harper, one of the best in the game, goes deep for the 26th time this year. 2-0 Nationals as we move to the second. Today, 2-run homer as we move to the second inning at Nationals Park. 4, 5, and 6 for the Crew. Travis Shaw, Hernan Perez, and Jonathan Villar against Scherzer. Shaw on the edge of 300, 23 homers, a team best 73 RBIs. Had a double last night in the first inning. Stole third and scored a run on a wild pitch. A strikeout wild pitch. Aguilar was able to reach. Shaw scored from third as the curveball bounced up there and got beyond Matt Wieters. Fastball there, and Shaw unable to catch up with it.
Yep, and then Gio Gonzalez really settled down, and Brewers not able to get anything on the board until the 9th inning. Nationals very strong in their starting rotation.
They remain that way even with Steven Strasburg now on the DL as Shaw rifles one foul. Banged off an empty chair, fortunately. Strasburg going on the 10-day DL. He came up with a forearm injury, the forearm issue in his last start on Sunday against the Diamondbacks. Lasted just 2 innings in that game.
Yep, a nerve impingement. They didn't think they were going to have to put Strasburg on the DL, but they decided to. Why not? It's only 10 days.
It's enough to make people around here nervous. This is a team with a very comfortable lead in the East. And getting to the playoffs has been something this ball club has been able to do. Advancing in the playoffs has been another story, and Dusty Baker trying to guide his team into a better position to move through, assuming they get to October, which would seem like a fairly safe assumption right now, as Scherzer issues a walk to Shaw to begin the top of the second.
He didn't walk many either. Scherzer, 34th walk right there to Travis Shaw to go along with 194 punch-outs.
The standings with the win last night, the Nationals with a 12.5 game lead.
I think the only thing that's that makes the folks around here in Washington nervous about this team, their bullpen. They did help their bullpen with trading deadline deals. Doolittle and Madsen, but still I think not all that comfortable with their bullpen right now.
Well, Sean Doolittle came in last night. When you bring a closer in a non-save situation, it's no secret that sometimes they can struggle. The Brewers knocked him around, but then Doolittle did lock down to get strikeouts to win the game. Hernan Perez was a part of that 9th inning rally last night. He had a run-scoring double in the 9th inning. Scherzer, a strikeout machine, about 12.5 per 9 innings. Strikeouts per 9. His whip better than last year. ERA better by more than half a run from last year, in which he won his 2nd Cy Young. 2-strike pitch to Perez.
Yeah, he ranks high in just about every pitching category on the positive side. 2nd in ERA, 1st in opponent batting average, 2nd in innings pitched, and of course leads the league in strikeouts. The only blemish for Scherzer has been the home run ball. He's given up 16.
And he gave up 31 last year, which led the National League. He also led the NL in innings pitched, and he's someone who you can count on. Dusty Baker can count on him these days to make every turn. A swing and a miss here, and Perez, the strikeout victim number 3 for Scherzer. 1 out of the 2nd.
Yeah, home runs aren't going to hurt you too bad as long as they're solo shots, which most of the time they are against him. He has allowed only 84 hits coming into his start today in just a little over 139 innings.
Face Jonathan VR. His hit in this series was last night to double in the 5th inning off of Gonzalez. Has to work from the left side of the plate where he has been better. Numbers nowhere near what he would want, but he's hitting 60 points better from the left side of the plate.
Did get a double last night against Gio Gonzalez, the left-hander. A rope into the gap in left center.
Craig Counsell and company, they keep hoping that he can get his season turned around, and we know how good he can be. The numbers he put up offensively a year ago for the Crew. Shares time out there today. He's still at 2nd. Eric Sogard is at short. Arcia not in the lineup. Counsell trying to guide his team through as they have hit some pretty big bumps on this road trip. Just 2-7 going into this finale today. 1-1 pitch to VR.
Yeah, really, the offense has been the culprit on this trip. I mean, starting pitching's been good. The bullpen, as we mentioned, they've had a couple of hiccups. I mean, big hiccups on this road trip. Big numbers in a couple of different innings. But for the most part, pitching's been solid. Defense has been very good. Just haven't been able to score a lot of runs.
Well, it's been all or nothing. The 2 wins the Brewers have in the trip. The offense busted out, putting 9 on the board against the Phillies, winning what turned into a slugfest, 9-8, and then 8-0, a shutout over the Nats on Tuesday night. Long ball return. Brewers hit 3 of them. Hit a couple last night, but missed some chances as well when they led 2-0. They didn't have a ton of hits in the game, but they were stranding runners in scoring position. It's been an ongoing issue with this Brewers club when they hit those doldrums offensively, very home run reliant. And yet there's enough power up and down the lineup here. Until recently, the Brewers have been able to really withstand a prolonged dry spell. If a couple guys go into a cold spell hitting home runs, then they're picked up by 2 or 3 others.
And that's the thing, when you rely too heavily on the home run ball, every now and again you're going to run into stretches where you're not hitting. You have to manufacture runs, figure out other ways to get runs on the board, runners in scoring position. This hasn't happened on this road trip for the most part.
We are a swing and a miss, and 4 strikeouts already for Max Scherzer, 2 away in the second. Here's Lewis Brinson. Second game back since the call up, and we got the rally going last night for the Crew. Powerball home run count. First big league home run for Lewis Brinson, and he launched it.
And no cheapie there, right? He's going to remember that one. That wasn't a wall scraper.
Watched him grow a little bit even last night. Don't want to make too much of a one-night sample size, but against Gonzalez, had that changeup going, got Brinson the first at bat last evening, but was able to grind out a walk in his second plate appearance, and then went deep off of Doolittle in the 9th. Telling reporters that first time up when he debuted against Arizona, you have to guard against trying to hit the 5-run homer. It's just settle down.
He's too amped up. It's not the way you play this game. You got to relax. That takes time. They start feeling comfortable in the batter's box. You stay back. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer for some than others.
Put up huge numbers at Colorado Springs. In fact, after his brief stint with the Brewers, sent back down to AAA, Brinson hit better than 400. Now he's facing a pitcher who is as good as there is in the game, and Max Scherzer. 1-1. Brinson will lift one into shallow right field. Coming on is Bryce Harper. And that'll do it for the Brewers in the second. A leadoff walk, but that's it as we move to the bottom of the second. 2-0 Nationals.
Nothing lead here at Nationals Park as Michael Blazek gets back to work. Our scoops from the clubhouse brought to you by Car Soup. Anthony Swarzak was acquired in the trade yesterday with the White Sox. He traveled to D.C. last night and this morning is here with the team. And Suarez said his reaction to the trade, he said he was pretty excited. He said it's a special opportunity, something he certainly did not expect coming into the season. But he said he's certainly excited. His early take on this team, he said, is that they work hard, they play hard. He said this is a group that does not give in, and he's looking forward to joining them here. And he said it's cool to be a part of a move like this. He said a trade like this indicates it's a good thing. The team is winning. He said rebuilding is obviously a big thing in the league right now. He said prospects carry a lot of weight, so he understands what the Brewers gave up, giving up Ryan Cordell in the trade. But he said to see an organization make an adjustment like this midseason and really go for winning and a playoff spot, he said it's cool to be a part of a move like that.
All right, Sophia, thank you very much. And matter of fact, Suarez has already helped the Brewers this week before he knew he was going to be a Brewer. Suarez got his first career save on Monday. That was at Wrigley Field. It was a 4-out save, helped the White Sox beat the Cubs.
Folks in Milwaukee should like him already then.
Absolutely. There you go. All in. Michael Blazek in his first major league start, facing Anthony Rendon. Blazek ahead of the count, a ball, 2 strikes. 10 starts at Colorado Springs, including his final 9 appearances.
That did well, a .313 earned run average and 20 appearances between the rotation and the bullpen. Picked up a couple of saves. There's that changeup that he was working on down in the minor leagues.
It's 3 straight strikeouts now for Blazek. He got Zimmerman and Murphy to win the first. He gets Rendon to begin the second.
Well, now a 4-pitch pitcher is Michael Blazek. This is something he worked on down in AAA Colorado Springs, and back-to-back strikeouts on that pitch. You got Murphy on the changeup. Never saw that pitch, that changeup, when he was working out of the bullpen.
Will face Adam Lind. It makes Blazek an intriguing option. 4 pitches working for you. Someone that obviously they're using today, but you can keep an eye out for him moving forward. All speed has Lind out in front. Remember, the Brewers designated him for assignment right about opening day. And a few days later, he cleared waivers, outrighted to Colorado Springs. 2 balls, 1 strike to the former Brewer, Adam Lind. 2 years ago. He hit then. He continues to hit now.
He's been pretty good out there in left field. I mean, the chances that he's had have not been impossible, but he's made all the plays. Another good changeup on the outside corner.
Lind out there in left for the 3rd straight night. Chris Heisey on the DL. Ryan Rayburn, the bereavement list. His grandfather passed away. We've had a number of other injuries out there. A swing and a miss for Adam Lind, and that's 4 in a row now for Michael Blazek. 2 outs here in the second.
Hey, the Brewers get set for a big 3-game series against the St. Louis Cardinals next Tuesday, August 1st through Thursday, August 3rd, as the rival clubs face off in the National League Central Showdown. Great seats are still available at Brewers.com. Yep, Cubs in for 3. An off day, and then the Cardinals come in.
Back to Central Division play. That homestand. Jose Lobaton gets the call behind the plate here this afternoon. Switch hitting catcher. He has started. He has hit safely in each of his last 5 games. It's the call for Matt Wieters. They have 3 catchers on their 25-man roster. Pedro Severino, we have seen him in this series, come off the bench. Fastball's inside.
And with this way the starting rotation is, I mean, when they're healthy, you really don't need 8 guys in your bullpen because they're You know, they work their pitch counts pretty well. They pitch deep into games, so yeah, they elect to go with 5 players on their bench. And 3 of those 5, or 2 of the 5 on the bench, are catchers. Gives Dusty Baker a little bit more flexibility making moves when you have that extra guy that can catch.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Blazek against Lobaton. Blazek looking for a clean inning after giving up a 2-run homer to Harper in the first. There's a fly ball out the center. Measuring it is Lewis Brinson, and in fact Blazek gets that clean inning. A couple of strikeouts and a fly ball as we are through 2. Nationals lead 2-0. The Nationals with the early lead here in D.C. Take a look at this stellar pitcher, an all-star each of the last 5 years with the Nationals. Cy Young Award winner, once with the Tigers, last year with these Washington Nationals. Of course, you go back, among the many things he's done, a 20 strikeout game. May of 2016. He is also the author of 2 no-hitters 2 years ago against the Pirates and the Mets, respectively. He has done it all. Remember, he was a draft pick of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Got moved around. Took him a little while to get into the groove, and once he did with the Tigers, he has been among the best in the game for the last several years.
Yeah, his first couple of years he couldn't find the plate. I think that's why the Diamondbacks elected to trade him to Detroit. But boys, he found that. He doesn't walk anybody hardly. He did walk Shaw earlier in the game, but something else. 7 straight winning seasons for Max Scherzer.
And 8 straight years where he has given his team at least 30 starts. You just count on him every turn. He has led his league in wins on 3 occasions, twice with the Tigers in the American League, and then last year a 20-7 record, 20 wins tops in the NL. Quite the resume. 7-year contract with the Nationals. Bandy. Perfect positioning by Daniel Murphy for out number 1.
Well, good contact with Jet Bandy, but unfortunately the shift gets him.
One away here in the third. Scherzer, like Blazek, already with 4 strikeouts through the first 2. Blazek will take his cut, see what he can do against the Cy Young winner. Harper. Blazek, time in his career, he along with Tyler Thornburg and Jeremy Jeffress. A little something going there for a little bit of time. Back into the pen for the crew.
Yeah, when Blazek was healthy with the Brewers in that bullpen, I mean, he was money. He put together a nice string of outings for Milwaukee out of the bullpen.
Battled some injuries last year. Forearm strain, broken hand a couple of years ago. That happened in mid-August. One of those guys who keeps fighting back, though, really in many ways symbolic of this team in general this year. I mean, you get DFA'd as he did in early April and staying with it. He's been up and down this year. Trying to make something of this opportunity, getting the start in place of Matt Garza as Blazek goes down swinging. 2 away here in the third.
Yeah, Garza with a lower leg strain that had happened a couple of days ago, just working out. End up on the DL. It's good that the Brewers had, Blazek in the bullpen, a starter down in the minor leagues, so he can do the emergency start today.
Two men out here in the third as Scherzer goes through the order the first time, allowing just a walk. That was to Travis Shaw, leading off the second. There's Eric Sogard. Every other day we have seen him in the lineup, going back to last weekend when he came off the DL series against the Phillies. First onto the scene, called up in mid-May. He's already hit 3 home runs this year. That marks a career high for Sogard.
Yeah, but hasn't been able to get that stroke back that he had before he went on the DL. Boy, he was red hot, getting on base, walks, scoring a lot of runs, but yeah, it's kind of stumbled out of the gates after coming off the DL.
Yeah, 1 for 11, in fact. Ball 2 strikes to Eric Sogard. Yeah, it was a tough one. He's playing so well, and then the ankle injury caused him to miss those dozen games. Missed all of last year with the left knee injury. Had surgery in April, 3rd week of April in 2016. But he certainly has had an impact on this Brewers team this season. Shoots one out of play.
And just such a big sweeping breaking pitch from Scherzer. That pitch breaks a lot, and it breaks late too. That's what makes him so tough, amongst a lot of other things. But he's got that pitch. He's got the cutter that he calls his lane changer. And here comes another one.
The 1-2 pitch. Yeah, he's got some interesting terminology. We're told Scherzer. You mentioned the lane changer. He's got that little change up. That's his mid-range jumper,
yeah,
right, they call it.
When he's got that working. When I got my mid-range jumper working, I'm going to be okay. The lane changer's the cutter.
Doesn't always have to be the deep 3, right?
Right.
A little mid-range game going. Lobaton hangs the sign. A ball, 2 strikes to Eric Sogard. Fastball away. Even with Sogard scuffling at the plate coming off the DL, his average still at .311. Good at working the counts. He'll draw a walk for you. Hanging in there against Scherzer. Brewers on Tuesday night got the better of Edwin Jackson. We'll start this series on a good note. Leading most of the way last night until the Nats rallied. That's a called 3rd strike on Sogard. And another 1, 2, 3 innings, 6 strikeouts for Scherzer. We move to the bottom of the 3rd. It was a comical, I guess, moment in a 2-touchdown win for Miami Heat last night. But you see just about everything, I guess. If you're Rock, I'll defer to you here. If you're around the game long enough, would I be right in assuming you haven't seen someone move the on-deck circle before?
No. Well, he was told to get on the on-deck circle, so instead of him moving back where he should have been, he brought the on-deck circle to where he wanted to stand, right behind the pitcher. The pitchers don't like that. Right behind the batter, I should say. Pitchers don't like that because you feel like you're timing them up. I mean, he was literally almost right behind home plate. Kind of a dangerous spot, but again, Jerry Davis asked him to move and he didn't. Throw him out. Trying to be cute. That's what you get, right?
Yeah, I guess. A little volatile around baseball last night. Dog days.
Yeah, it gets to you after a while, right? Bryce Harper with the meltdown last night.
Yeah, they say that was his first such eruption this season. He's been ejected 10 times in his career. And he did go off last night. Back in the lineup today, and he's hit a 2-run homer. Dusty Baker last night saying, look, he's protecting his player the way you would expect. I'd rather have to tone a guy down than have to rev him up.
But again, not a good time to be thrown out of a ball game. At the time it was a tie game. I mean, fortunately for Harper, Zimmerman and the rest of the offense picked him up.
Blazek just walks Scherzer to lead off the 3rd inning. We'll set him down in order in the 2nd along the way. Let's go back to last night. We're talking about with Harper. This is against Josh Hader.
This is the one that got him right here. You can see already. That's not one that got thrown out. It was a strike 3 pitch right here. And there's the eruption. 98. In a tie game. The go-ahead run was at 3rd base at the time. Looked like a strike to me. That first strike was what ruffled the feathers of Harper. What a job he did yesterday, though.
Yeah, that was you talk about a big stage moment. Josh Hader with family and friends in the house. That's the shame of it, and where the game can be cruel to you, because Jimmy Nelson pitched a terrific ball game. Josh Hader had a huge moment, but it tends to get lost in the shuffle because of what the Nationals ended up doing in the 8th inning, scoring 7 times, and the Brewers ended up losing the ball game. But you would think, again, big picture, that's a huge boost for Hader, being able to step up in a moment like that and get a punch out of a guy who could very well end up being the MVP.
And you wonder what David Stearns and the Brewers are thinking about the future of Josh Hader. As good as he's been out of the bullpen, he has been unbelievable. Not just against left-handers, but right-handers as well.
There's Goodwin lifting a fly ball deep to right field, and it's out of here. Number 10 for Brian Goodwin, and it's 4-0 Nationals. Has some pop in his back. To put him in there, Adam Eaton.
Double to left his first time up. Now a home run to right. A 2-run shot after Blazek walks Scherzer to lead off the inning. That 2-seamer that didn't stay on the inner half of the plate, inside corner. Just drops it into the first row.
That time because of the injury to Adam Eaton, and he is taking advantage. The average fairly low, but the power is evident. 10 home runs for him. There's Wilmer Defoe. Sacrifice bunt in the 1st inning. The Nationals with a couple of home runs here early on against Michael Blazek. Harper in the 1st, Goodwin here in the 3rd. Lifts one back into deep right center field, and the Nats go back to back. The scenario you feared is unfolding here early on for Craig Counsell. It's this powerful offense getting it from all angles right now.
Yeah, slider right down the middle of the plate, and that Defoe able to give it a ride. I mean, way back off the facing of the second deck out there in right center. A hanging breaking ball on a 1-1 count. 5-zip, and when you're facing Max Scherzer, you're in trouble, big trouble.
Here's Bryce Harper with the first of the 3 home runs the Nationals have here today. 2-run blast in the first. Brewers down 5 against a pitcher with a 2.26 ERA. Harper in front there, 1-1.
They mentioned that Blazek has been stretched out down in the minor leagues, meaning that he has been around 100 pitches on a number of occasions, but that was a while ago. I mean, we're talking a month since he's done that. I wonder how long he's going to be able to go today.
Brewers bullpen starting to stir a little bit. Knowing the Cubs are next, this is where the managers earn the big bucks. How you try to handle your bullpen knowing you have a big series, division rivals coming to your yard. They squeeze as much as they possibly can out of Blazek today.
Right, you don't want to empty out your bullpen. You got Willie Peralta down there that you could probably get a few innings out of. Suarez, he's probably going to pitch today.
Swozak, well, with the White Sox this year, could give his team multiple innings. Mentioned the 4-out save he had. It was his first big league save, but he could go out there for his second frame. Did that to Rick Renteria's team. Still nobody out in the third. A leadoff walk to Scherzer, and then back-to-back dingers. Goodwin and Defoe.
Yeah, those two guys hit home runs. Now you get into the troublesome part of this batting order. Scherzer, the pitcher, walks. Goodwin, Defoe with homers, and now you really get into the big hitters.
And the big 4 back in the lineup for Baker here today. Harper, Zimmerman, Murphy, and Rendon. 2-2 again. Harper, as you might imagine, among the leaders in the National League in walks. 4th behind Joey Votto, Paul Goldschmidt, and Matt Carpenter. The mention is, this trade deadline approaches, there isn't one team that you would think appears completely comfortable. The Dodgers, as much as they're winning, and then they often do it in dramatic fashion. They rallied last night to beat the Twins, but they have Kershaw down. Talk around here in D.C. as they could use another bullpen piece. Harper sends one left center field, and back to back go the Nationals in the third.
See what that pitch was. He went down and got it, and just hit it a ton out there in the left center. Change up at the knees, and he hit it out of here to left center. The way he stays back and down and through that baseball. So a couple of homers for Harper today. 4 already for the Nationals.
There's a 9-pitch at bats. Harper goes deep. Well, he's flashy, he's volatile, but above all else, he is incredibly talented. And back to form after a tough year by his standards in 2016.
There's still no activity in that Brewers bullpen. Craig Counsell needs innings. He needs Blazek to get a little bit deeper into this game.
4-run third, still nobody out. A walk and 3 homers. Here's Ryan Zimmerman, and he sends one deep to left, and that's out of here. 4 in a row for the Nationals.
Getting a lot of the plate, obviously, with his pitches. That was a first pitch slider right down the middle. Pressure's on Daniel Murphy now.
4 home runs in a row. Goodwin, Defoe, Harper, and Zimmerman. Now Daniel Murphy, he's hit 17 on the year. Number 17 coming last night.
Now the Brewers have really Peralta getting loose in the pen.
Lonely feeling right now for Michael Blazek.
No kidding.
There's, as Rock mentioned, Peralta getting ready. He pitched on Sunday for Counsell, and actually Peralta gave Craig 2 good frames against the Phillies. Couple of runs in the first for the Nats. Blazek got him in order in the second. And Washington has just flat out teed off here in the third. A 1-2. It's a lot of home runs or strikeouts. Murphy will hit the home runs, but he's only punched out 40 times this year. Nelson was able to get him once last night via the K.
Yeah, on a fastball, and Blazek got him back in the first inning on a changeup.
Franchise history here for the Nats / Expos. First time 4 straight hitters have left the yard. Harper was number 3 out of 4. Blazek with the 1-2. Zimmerman, the 4th of the 4 in a row. Those are trying to get Murphy for the second time. Murphy with a fly ball out to center field. Lewis Brinson will squeeze it, and finally there is 1 out in the third.
Yeah, good curveball that time by Blazek. Big breaker down in the zone. Murphy an easy pop out.
Just try to fight through this if you're Michael Blazek. See, the next pitch will be his 30th of this inning. 60th of the game with just 1 out in the third. Here is Rendon.
That really is tough duty for Blazek. You think about it. I mean, you have a spot start here and made 4 appearances out of the bullpen. Hadn't made a start since the end of June. And you're facing probably the best offensive team in the National League.
And one you figured was going to bust out. They'd been shut out a couple of times in the last week, including Tuesday against Zach Davies and Oliver Drake. And Nelson had him locked up. Rendon turns on one deep to left, and that's the 5th bomb of the inning. for the Nationals. 5 out of 6 hitters go downtown.
Unbelievable. It's hard to do this in batting practice. And they are just locked in. And Rendon with a fastball middle in, and he hits it over the Brewers bullpen, and Craig Counsell really has no choice but to pull Blazek and bring on Willie Peralta.
That's a tough spot for Blazek here today. Placing Matt Garza, getting a spot start against an offense that is now absolutely red hot. Pitching change, Blazek out, Peralta in. 8-0 Washington in the third. To you by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Well, the Brewers had a rough 8th inning last night, and they are having a brutal 3rd inning here today. A short day's work for Michael Blazek as he has run into an offense that is mashing. 5 homers out of the last 6 hitters, including Anthony Rendon. Still only 1 out here in the third. As Brock mentioned, Craig Counsell really had no choice. He was trying to get what he could, but he just doesn't have it.
You just can't leave him out there, you know, as a sacrificial lamb, so to speak. But you know, Willie Peralta, his first outing back from the minor leagues. He went on a rehab assignment after he went on the disabled list. Came back, pitched on Sunday against the Phillies. 2 scoreless innings that included 4 strikeouts. Only allowed 1 hit. He had a right calf strain that landed him on the disabled list, so you wonder if Craig Counsell is going to be asking for multiple innings out of Peralta. You would think so.
It was just 1 step, but it was an important one. At least you hope it will be for Peralta, the way he did pitch on Sunday. So he gets this chance to try to help the club, and try to help the club by eating some innings here today. Here is Adam Lind. Struck out in the 2nd inning. So he started with a walk to Max Scherzer, and then 4 consecutive home runs. Brian Goodwin, Wilmer Defoe, Bryce Harper, and Ryan Zimmerman. And then after a Daniel Murphy fly ball to center, Rendon launched one out of here to left. 6 homers off of Blazek, 5 of them here in the third. A ball, 2 strikes to Lind.
Now these are important outings for Willie Peralta. Even in even in a 8-0 ball game. I mean, Willie Peralta has to stay focused and continue to pitch well. Build off his last outing.
Lynch sharply hit, and it gets through. A base hit. Sogard shifted over, but Lind able to shoot one through. Still just one out here in the third.
Yeah, you make mistakes to these guys, and they are going to belt it pretty good. I mean, barreling it up. Willie on a 2-2 pitch. Getting a little bit too much of the plate, and Adam Lind barrels it up right back through the middle. Sogard can't come up with it.
Eight runs, a like number of hits now for the Nationals. But that's their first single of the day. There's Jose Lobaton. Lind is going, and the throw down to second, and Lind has himself a stolen base.
I don't know about that. I mean, you've got an 8-0 lead. You're piling on, and Adam Lind decides to take off. Brewers not holding them on, thinking that they're not going to run. 8-0 in the third inning. Taking off, not being held on.
Ball, no strikes to Lobaton. And he went around. Lobaton with a fly ball to Brinson in the second. Here's the 1-1. That's hit toward right center field. That's to the gap and the wall. Lind will score. Lobaton to second, and it's 9-0 Nationals.
Another pitch that gets a little bit too much of the play. That's kind of been the common theme today, at least in this inning. And Bryce Harper hit a pretty decent pitch, a changeup down, but the other, hits and home runs came on pitches pretty much down the middle, mistake pitches. Adam Lind, after singling, stealing the base and scoring on the double.
Here's Scherzer. His walk began this inning. 10th man to hit. So once again a 7-run inning for the Nationals. 8th inning last night, 3rd inning today. Still just one out. 0-2 the count to Scherzer. Scherzer will lift one out of play, and Scherzer's last start against Arizona, he gave up back-to-back homers in the first inning.
Yeah, first 3 hitters of the ball game, and able to settle down. You don't see too many innings like this in the big leagues.
No, you don't.
Incredible.
5 home runs, 4 in a row.
The Brewers have made some mistakes. I mean, Blazek made a lot of mistakes with his pitches, but still, for them, the Nationals to be up there and squaring them up like they did, hitting all those home runs, that's a difficult thing to do, even on bad pitches. Every now and again, you figure they're going to ground out or pop one up.
The tapper by the mound, charging is Sogard, and the throw is not in time. Infield single for Scherzer. Lobaton moves to third. Seeing if there's enough there to warrant a challenge.
Yeah, a little knuckle buster, and Sogard able to get there, but he looks safe. Yep, he beat it.
No challenge. 10 hits already for Washington.
Willie Peralta has not been able to retire a batter.
Here's Brian Goodwin. He started the home run parade in this inning. 2-run shot to right. He runs well. He would be tough to double. He can hit it sharply right at somebody, and that's it sharply right at Travis Shaw, and there it is, your double play. He lines into one, and finally, mercifully, the third inning is over. The Nationals bring out the big lumber, and they lead by 9. Wisconsin is brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Now the Washington Nationals showing why they have this big lead in the National League East and why they are a serious threat to last a while in the postseason. What they did in the third inning, 5 homers, 4 in a row. Harper has hit 2 today, and you see some
Brewers
record
on that
matches.
list.
Yep.
Back in 06. An incredible offensive performance by Washington so far today. In the meantime, Max Scherzer has not allowed a hit.
Scherzer just allowed a walk to Travis Shaw in the second inning. Scherzer will face Thames, Santana, and Shaw here in the fourth. He spent some time on the bases, a very long inning. See what the crew can do here. Thames on Tuesday night homered. He popped one off the facade in the upper deck, side to the upper deck in right field. Four homers. He has driven in 45. Let's check out the Powerball home run leaderboard. That 24th moved him ahead of Travis Shaw, who had matched him earlier on Tuesday night. Shaw had a 3-run bomb. Thames a solo shot. Santana hit his 17th last night. Braun and Perez rounding out the Powerball home run leaderboard. He's hit 3 of them on Tuesday. Back-to-back, in fact. Thames and Manny Pena.
Kind of the way the road trip is going. When the Brewers are able to hit home runs, they win games, right? I mean, that's kind of what the story has been on this road trip.
1-2 to Thames into the shift. Murphy the backhand stab and the throw not in time. Thames with an infield hit to begin the 4th.
Well, Mookie off the back. I mean, anytime Max Scherzer goes out on the mound, you're in the back of your mind thinking, does he have no hit stuff today? A pretty good changeup that Thames was able to wait back on. Get enough of it, and Daniel Murphy not able to get much on the throw, and Thames able to beat it. First hit for Milwaukee.
It's good reverse jinx action right there.
Yeah, get that out of the way.
That's right.
That's the last thing you need today.
Yeah, stop the nonsense. Here's Domingo Santana. Wave it and miss in there for strike 1. Struck out of the 2nd inning. Scherzer with 6 strikeouts already. Opponents against the slider of Scherzer this year, hitting all of a .189. They're not hitting well against him, period.
Yeah,
everything works.
I was going to say, what is it against all those other pitches, right? And when you have an opponent batting average for the season overall at 170.
Right. How about this? Right-hander is just 126. That's just silly. Pretty hard to find a flaw. He will give up a big fly now and then, but you also have to remember he works a lot of innings. Most of the National League last year, may very well be there again this year. A 1-2. Already approaching 200 punch outs this season. He's at 198 at the moment. Two balls, 2 strikes to Santana. And a double play chance. Murphy, Defoe, Zimmerman. 4-6-3. There are 2 men out.
Now hit it pretty well, did Domingo Santana, but unfortunately right at Murphy. Easy room service double play for the Nationals.
It's just incredible how the complexion of a 3-game series in July can turn. The Brewers led most of the way last night. The Nats with a bouncing ball that just goes over the glove of Jesus Aguilar. Another bouncer that found the hole between Aguilar and VR, and then the Nats, they got their extra base hits as well, but went after a couple of pretty good pitches and able to make it pay off for them, and they rallied last night and they explode here today.
And just like today in that 8th inning last night, it was the bottom of the order to get things going. Max Scherzer today drew a walk, and then the home run barrage started.
There was a walk last night to Matt Wieters, 8th man in the order. And there you see they were awfully quiet, better than a game and a half, and they have just erupted. A cruel reminder of how good this Nationals offense is.
Also, pretty much of a nice tribute to that those last 2 starts the Brewers put together to keep them down the way they did.
You're right. Zach Davies on Tuesday, Nelson last night. That big 4 for the Nationals, but they've gotten power from Ryan Goodwin. Wilmer Defoe hit his 3rd of the year here today. Shaw launches one deep to right field. If it's fair, it's gone. It's fair, and it is gone. Upper deck for Travis Shaw, number 24.
Well, fastball in, and Travis stays hot. Boy, he's been terrific. I mean, he took a fastball that was in on a 3-0 pitch and knocked it out of here. Why not? Scherzer fell behind, wanted to throw him a strike, and Shaw hit one out of here. There it is. Fastball in. Question was it going to be fair? It was, right inside the foul pole. And the Brewers on the board.
Shaw matching Eric Thames now for the home run leadership, matching him again. He did so on Tuesday night. Does it here on Thursday afternoon. Hernan Perez at the plate. He swings and lifts a fly ball out toward Adam Lind in shallow left. They'll do it here in the 4th inning, but the Brewers get on the board. Another rocket off the bat of Travis Shaw as he goes to the top shelf here at Nationals Park. Nats lead by 8.
Max Scherzer, the Nationals have a 9-1 lead here in the 4th, and the Brewers Community Foundation hosted a crew of cyclists that rode 25 miles in support of urban ecology, Dream Bikes, and the American Cancer Society, hitting for the cycle of making a difference for children and their families throughout Milwaukee.
All right, Sophia, thank you very much. We move to the bottom of the 4th inning here at Nationals Park. Willie Peralta is still in there and need him to chew up some innings here today. That's a Captain Obvious statement. I can get it, but if you're just joining us, Michael Blazek getting a spot start. And the Nationals just went to work on him. 6 bombs, 5 in the 4th, or rather 5 in the 3rd, including 4 straight. Peralta finishing up that inning and struggling to begin this frame as Defoe with a base hit. It's his 2nd hit of the day. And here comes Harper. He has homered twice already. This is the day so far for the right fielder. 2-run bomb in the 1st, and then solo in the 3rd. That was the 3rd of 4 straight long balls against Blazek.
Yeah, hit a high fastball his first time up. And A changeup his second time up.
Already 11 hits for the Nats. And he sends it right where they were giving it to him. Down the line and left. Defoe motoring around third. He's going to score. Harper into second, and it's 10-1.
Boy, lonely out there on the mound when you got an offense that's just barreling up everything, finding holes. Willie Peralta has given up a lot of line drives so far. He did get that double play on a line out to Travis Shaw, but there's a fastball away, and you can see how well Bryce Harper covers the plate. Shoots that one right down the line with Defoe's speed. He scores easily.
And they continue to mash. Here's Zimmerman. They need innings out of Peralta. That pen is quiet. They need him to try to grind through this as long as he can. 0-1 pitch to Ryan Zimmerman. It's that never-ending struggle for Counsell and pitching coach Derek Johnson, who's trying to get that form back with Willie Peralta. 17-game winning form.
Man, but his arm, I mean, it's awfully difficult to give up on him, and if you send him down, he's going to be exposed to any other team that wants him, and the Brewers just don't want to do that. They have given Willie many opportunities to get things right.
And Zimmerman sends one deep to right, and the onslaught continues. Second of the day for Ryan Zimmerman. It's one of those days they could just cover their eyes and they'd still barrel one up.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, and if you're Craig Counsell, you're figuring that this is going to be a tough one to come back on, but right now he's thinking about that Cup Series. What's he going to do in the Cup Series? He's got to be able to keep some of his guys fresh for tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. The Brewers have a day off on Monday, but I think the biggest concern right now for Counsell is trying to get through this game without blowing out your entire bullpen. And having guys fresh for tomorrow.
Absolutely, a huge series. You lose by 1 or you lose by 20, it's a game, and you've got your division rivals coming in. Part of the beauty of the sport, you can flip it back into your favor quickly. Might sound silly at the moment, but we have seen this club battle back all year.
And so if you ask yourself why Willie Peralta is still out there, I mean, that's why, because he needs to get a lot of innings. I mean, 2-3 innings out of Willie minimum, I would imagine here. And only so many guys you can use one day and to have them all ready for the next day.
It's the trick, one of many that a manager has to deal with. You do what you can on a given day, but you have to look bigger picture. And right now, they're just in a position they have to stand out there and take the hits. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Daniel Murphy. Peralta trying to record an out here in the 4th inning. Here's the 2-2. It's ripped hard, but out of play. I mentioned last night they hit a couple of choppers that got through. There's no choppers to be had today. They're launching.
Yeah, they are. And Willie's given up 6 hits.
Jimmy Nelson pitched so well last night. One of those tough luck no decisions for him. He has really given his team a lot of terrific outings. He had a struggle in April, but maybe a bump here or there after that, but few and far between. He has pitched extremely well, and now Murphy draws a walk. He's been around long enough. 17 years as a player. Took over as manager in May of 2015. He has seen the movie from both sides.
And he knew he was going to have to get into his bullpen today regardless, because you figured Blazek maybe 4 or 5 innings. But 2 1/3 has got the Brewers in a bind here today. And still nobody out in the 4th inning.
There's Rendon. He has been involved in the home run parade. He too can be an MVP candidate. Look into the metrics, the advanced stats. He's the top player in wins above replacement in the National League. His WAR number is 5. Sabermetricians know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Long story short is he's really good.
Yeah, no kidding. And he doesn't get a whole lot of play. I mean, all the other superstars that are around him in the lineup, you know, Murphy, Harper, Zimmerman, all the pitching that they have. I mean, quietly he has put together a solid year.
Strong arm. Shows him well over at third. His comeback player of the year in the National League last year was Rendon. Battled a lot of injuries in 2015. Knee injury specifically limited his year 2 seasons ago. He had an individual game back in late April where he erupted this year against the Mets. He got off to kind of a slow start, did Rendon. Throughout most of May, he did not homer. He drove in 5, and then on April 30th against the Mets, he went 6 for 6. He homered 3 times. He drove in 10.
Yeah, that's a good week.
It is. And he had it all in one day for Dusty Baker.
That's a good 10 days. 2 weeks, 10 RBIs.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Sharply hit, and of course a fair ball down the left field line. Murphy to third as it bangs off the sidewall. Rendon into second, and the 5th straight hitter reaching for the Nationals in the 4th. We talked about the lonely feeling that Blazek had. It's more of the same now for Peralta. Bullpen still quiet.
Yeah, Derek Johnson, Craig Counsell trying to put together a game plan to get through this game. Because right now, it looks like it's going to take a long time to get to the 8th inning. And unfortunately, Craig Counsell thinking about going to the phone.
Yeah, pen may not stay quiet for long. He tunneled down there, the bullpen coach. Here's Adam Lind. He's singled, and there's a ground ball over to VR. This will get a run home, but finally an out. As Murphy scores, RBI ground ball from Lind as Rendon moves to third. 13-1 the score.
Carlos Torres getting loose down in that Brewers bullpen.
Counsell doing all he can to try to get Peralta through here, but at some point you might have to pull the trigger. And here's Lobaton pulling the trigger, and there's another one. Make it 15-1 Washington. That's 8 bombs on the day for the Nationals. And we're in the 4th.
Yeah.
Here's Scherzer. It's a record-tying 8 home runs in a game. It's a National League record. Scherzer has not been retired. He walked in the 3rd. Infield single also in the 3rd. And as a 3-0 counts here in the 4th. Unfortunately, a step backwards here for Peralta after pitching well in Philadelphia on Sunday.
I mean, and none of these hits that they've gotten. I mean, he's given up 8 hits, and every one of them have been hit hard. Except maybe the one from Scherzer back in the 3rd. But I wonder how long Craig Counsell is going to leave Willie out there. And
you would think Torres is ready. It's just a matter of when Counsell wants to make the move, or has to make the move. You know he doesn't want to.
And Torres is ready. He's standing on top of the bullpen mound and saying, whenever you need me, I'm ready.
Peralta facing the 9th man here in this 4th inning. Already batted around once. This will be the 2nd time. So the roof has collapsed here in the 3rd and 4th innings against the Brewers. Goodwin, a double, a 2-run homer, and lined into a double play, and it finally ended the last inning. The battle to get up here to the big club did Goodwin. He struggled in AAA a couple years ago. Bounced back last year. Put up some pretty good numbers.
Took some injuries, but he's here and he's been productive.
Snap back after really struggling in spring training. Home run he hit today is his 10th of the year. Three balls, 1 strike. The Nationals have had a 7-run inning and now a 6-run inning. Full count to the center fielder, Brian Goodwin. There you go. And a strikeout for Peralta. 2 men out of the 4th.
They got him on a slider that was kind of a spinner. Didn't do much, and he chased it out of the strike zone.
Two away here in the 4th inning. Such a lonely feeling for a pitcher about the manager.
Yeah. Lonely for everybody that's going to be jumping on that plane today. This is not the way you want to finish a road trip. I mean, that's an understatement, of course, but
Peralta sails one over Jet Bandy. Scherzer to second.
Willie's pretty much throwing off sliders at this point. I mean, he hasn't thrown too many fastballs since that Lobaton home run.
Defoe with a sac bunt, a homer, and a single. Shades of Carlos Gomez there swinging out of his helmet.
Yeah, 15-1, and he's uppercutting coming out of his helmet.
All right. Now, back in the day, the next pitch would be kind of predictable.
I was going to go there, but I decided not to. But since you mentioned it,
thought I'd throw it out there.
Yeah.
I watched. You lived it.
Well, and you know that Adam Lynch stolen base last inning too is kind of iffy. And we mentioned that when he did it.
1-2.
But if you're the Nationals, you're up there at the plate. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you're not going to sacrifice. You're not going to make outs. You want to get hits.
Right.
It's got to, you know, they're staying focused, and you know it's up to the Brewers to make good pitches and get them out.
Ball 2 strikes to Defoe. His chance, of course, in part because of the injury to Trey Turner and a strikeout there. And finally, this 4th inning ends. Rough outing for Willie Peralta. Another big inning for the Nats and a big day for the Nats.
Brewers as we head to the 5th time now for our unlimited baseball break, brought to you by T-Mobile. We just saw reliever Pat Neshek in Philadelphia, and last night he was traded to Colorado in exchange for 3 prospects, including an infielder and 2 right-handed pitchers. This season with Philly, he went 3-2, the 1.12 earned run average in 43 games. And Eric Hosmer last night against the Tigers went 5 for 6 with a home run and 6 RBIs, including a grand slam in the 7th inning. The Royals are now just 1.5 games back in the AL Central, so the Royals have certainly changed their position. Many wondering if they were in the buy or sell mode in the first half of the season.
Yeah, you're right, Sophia. That was a big question going into the year. They have so many players who are in the final year of their contracts. If they couldn't make a push, if they would just sell it off, and the answer is no, they're not selling because they're in the thick of it. And don't forget the Twins. The Brewers have their annual 2 there, 2 at Miller Park coming up in early August. And the schedule remains daunting. I mean, it's the big leagues. It's not like you're going to get a lot of layups to begin with, but they have a stretch here ahead of them with teams right in the thick of the playoff chase, including the homestand with the Cubs and Cardinals coming in.
Yep. That's a good year to be mediocre, right?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and it's that.
Except for a couple of divisions.
It's the dilemma, I think, with every general manager around, and it's a nice problem. But when you have 2 wild cards, it could be a fine line as to, are you really a contender or not? And you have a lot of teams in the thick of it. So do you pull the trigger on a move that could get you on a dance floor in October? And then when you get in there, if it's a wild card or any kind of a short series, a wild card obviously a 1-game deal. But who knows? You know, the Nationals today look like the greatest thing ever. But they're nervous around here. They've got a lot of guys hurt. They've got Strasburg back on the DL.
The team gets hot, you never know, right? I mean, normally good starting pitching and bullpen usually wins in the playoffs. Not necessarily the team that can hit the most home runs. That just doesn't work all the time when you're in the postseason facing really good pitching. So yeah, I mean, a lot of teams feel as though they have a shot.
They are fouling one off. 2 balls, 2 strikes, working against Max Scherzer. Dusty Baker knows the drill. Also knows the heartache of getting knocked out in the playoffs. And this illustrates how incredibly difficult it is. You have to be good, but you need an element of luck on your side with the health of your team and who gets hot at the right time. It's the fascinating part of this sport, or any sport really.
It's just it's when you're playing well, right? I mean, you play well all season, you go into a bit of a tailspin going into postseason, and you can bounce quickly. That's the trick that managers have, you know, when they have leads this big. How do you keep your guys engaged, right?
Exactly. A strikeout for VR. That's 7 of them now for Max Scherzer, and 199 on the year.
And you wonder how long Dusty Baker's going to keep Scherzer out there. I mean, you know, a couple of outs, he gets through the 5th inning, he'd be the pitcher of record. Would this be a time where you kind of shorten his workload a bit and ask some more out of your bullpen? They did bring up another reliever today.
And Sammy Solis is.
So they have 5 lefties in their pen.
Yeah, how about that? That was how, at least for now, they replace Strasburg on the DL. There's Lewis Brinson, and he sends a fly ball to left field. He hit it well. Adam Lind at the track, and he runs it down. 2 away here in inning number 5.
Yeah, he's making it look easy out there. This is pretty impressive by Adam Lind in left. He's not smiling anymore. He was smiling the first 2 games. I think he expects himself to make these catches. That's not an easy play. That's a slider from Scherzer. Brinson got it down on the end a little bit, but a nice running catch by Adam Lind. He started in left field all 3 games in this series.
I mentioned he played there some, or maybe more than some at times, earlier in his career with the Blue Jays, but you've seen him obviously mostly at first and with the Blue Jays as a DH. There's Jet Bandy, and there's a base hit for Jet into left. It would really be nice moving forward if Bandy could get back to the productivity he had at the plate early in the season. You know, that tag team with he and Pena, they weren't good just behind the plate, but at the plate. Pena, a 300 hitter, and well, Bandy had a really rough month of June, but his start was a good one and important for this team.
Yep. Hit some big home runs. He really did a nice job behind home plate. He's hit the ball hard twice today.
Peralta will go ahead and hit away. As we have mentioned, Counsell needs innings, many as he can get out of Peralta. Torres is ready. Nationals scored 6 times in the 4th inning. You take your lumps and just see if you can get through another inning or 2 here if you're Willie Peralta.
Well, you're probably not going to use Braun today. You want to give Arcia the complete day off. Aguilar, Pena, the only other 2. You don't want to use your only other catcher. That's why you have Willie in the batter's box right now.
2-strike pitch. And that's out number 2. Make it out number 3, rather. Backwards K, and that's 200 punch outs for Scherzer this season. 15-1 the Nationals.
as we head to the bottom of the fifth. Get live broadcast, scoring updates, breaking news, and more right at your fingertips with MLB.com At Bat. The official app of the Brewers. Download At Bat today. Free for your smartphone or tablet.
A must-have. Baseball fan, keep up to date and all the news around the league. The playoff chase is going on. Well, Carlos Torres will go ahead and come on here. Peralta did bat in the fifth inning, top half, but Counsell going to his pen and Carlos Torres out there.
48th appearance for Carlos Torres. Last pitched on Friday against the Phillies. He got roughed up pretty good. 4 earned runs in a third of an inning. His earned run average went from 396 to what it is currently at 465.
Torres will try to do what has not been accomplished today, and that's retire Bryce Harper. 2 homers and a double. He has driven in 4. And there's a line drive to VR for out number 1.
That'll do it.
There you go. Got him taken care of. That's out number 1. We're talking a lot about the Nats and their injuries. Well, the Brewers have a few of their own. Let's check in with Sophia and get an update on that.
Yeah, and there is some better news for the Brewers on the injury front. I'll start first with Chase Anderson. He's been on the disabled list since June 29th with that left oblique strain, which he suffered in his last start in Cincinnati, but he made good progress. Yesterday was a good day forward for him as he was able to throw off of the mound for the first time since his injury. So it was a light bullpen session, just 25 pitches, but overall Anderson said he felt good, and overall he's been encouraged by the progress that he's made with that oblique, hopeful that it can be closer to the 6-week timeline instead of 8. And remember, it was earlier on this road trip that catcher Stephen Vogt sprained his left knee, that MCL, in Pittsburgh on July 18th. Well, he has made good progress this series as well. He's been on the field the last 3 days playing catch. Told me that earlier today he was even able to get down and squat, do some throwing. So Vogt very encouraged by the progress with his knee as well.
Yeah, it's encouraging signs. And Rock, in some ways that becomes like acquisitions if you can get those guys back. And Anderson specifically is putting together a terrific year, 6-2 and a sub-3 ERA. Ground ball off the bat of Zimmerman, gobbled up by Sogard. 2 up, 2 down.
Yeah, Chase Anderson has been on the disabled list since June 29th. Yeah, about a month. He's still got a ways to go before he's able to go down on a rehab assignment down in the minor leagues and stretch it out a little bit. You see him doing a lot of running in the outfield, and good to see him back doing things back out on the mound.
So we got 2+ months of season remaining. So much focus on the non-waiver trade deadline fast approaching. Brewers with the move earlier this week, sending Ryan Cordell to the White Sox for Anthony Swarzak. Swarzak with the team, ready to go. Daniel Murphy at the plate with 2 outs and the bases empty. As tough a day as this is for the Brewers, for a long season, you can kind of let things work in your favor too. The worst thing that happens out of all of this is they end up a game and a half behind in the standings. Cubs play tonight. There's a base hit for Murphy. It's a possibility that through it all they could still just be a half game back with the Cubs coming to your ballpark beginning tomorrow. John Lester and Mike Pelfrey, the pitching matchup tonight. The South Side. Cubs have won the last 2 games. The White Sox beat the Cubbies on Monday at Wrigley. Cubs bounced back Tuesday, and then they got a win last night.
Yeah, worst thing that happened to this Brewers ball club was the All-Star game.
You're right.
The All-Star break. I mean, they were about as good as it gets going into that All-Star break, that 4-day All-Star break, and they just haven't been able to, find that same momentum and that same mojo since.
It was interesting that rain out on the day where it quit raining very early in May in Chicago. The Brewers had to make that up on an off day before going to Yankee Stadium, and that was an annoying thought for a while, but the Brewers were playing so well. Craig Counsell was able to turn it into a positive going into the game. Say, hey, we're playing well. Let's go. Let's do it. And the Brewers went there and put a whipping on the Cubs, and then took 2 out of 3.
Yeah, and then the All-Star break, and it hasn't been the same since. Just got to find it again. Got to grind through it, get through this. And no better time than tomorrow night against the Cubs.
Be sweet. It's how the mood of a club and a fan base can turn on a dime. Things can go well over the weekend. Then you got the Cardinals coming in. With this guy going, Eric Thames actually is picking up at the plate here in the month of July. We'll find the answers here for Jonathan VR. Get him going on the bases. Sogard, get him back into the rhythm. I think Craig Counsell talked over the weekend. The numbers that Sogard put up were crazy before he got hurt. Travis Shaw in the meantime has been as valuable to this team as maybe most any player in baseball has been around the league.
No doubt, both at the plate and in the field.
Has that errorless streak going. Only Don Money sits ahead of him. Passed his manager's streak a while ago. 69 straight now for Shaw. I know that that's potentially a jinx there, but we're also pointing out how well he's played. He's handled things over there at third as Rendon draws a walk.
That's okay to go with the facts.
Yeah. I want to point out when a guy is getting it done. I mean, he has the home runs, the runs batted in, but he has given Counsell more than solid play over at third. And there might be third basemen with more range. There are third basemen with more range, but when he gets to it, he takes care of it.
Yeah, very accurate throwing arm, and he plays every day. The other thing you love about Travis Shaw.
Here's Adam Lind. Getting it done in left field, getting it done at the plates in this series and this season. And Baker has had him in the lineup. Sets up here to be a interesting end of July and on into August. Today notwithstanding, this Milwaukee Brewers team continues to be one of the surprises in the game. And just 4 games separating the first place Cubs from the 4th place Pirates. Domingo Santana, breakout year for him going on right now with what he's done at the plate. Tough first few weeks. And you get the sense that the home run for Brinson last night will be the first of a lot. Certainly hope so for him and this ball club. Gave Brewer fans an idea of that power that he put on display at Colorado Springs. He gave a good ride to a pitch here in this game as well this afternoon. Park held it, but had no chance of holding that home run off Sean Doolittle last night.
No, I mean, that one out in left center was a blast. And he's going to hit a lot of those. I mean, he's that kind of hitter. He took a Scherzer slider, had it on the end of the bat, and took Lind up against a wall.
Ball a strike to Lind. 2 on 2 out here in the 5th. And there's a bouncing ball over to VR, positioned properly, and that'll do it for the Nationals here in the 5th. Torres gets out of it. The Nats do not score as we move to the 6th in our nation's capital.
long road trip. Head back to Milwaukee this afternoon. Hey, a few months ago, 3 Milwaukee Brewers of the baseball playing variety teamed up with a few Milwaukee Brewers of the beer making variety to create the bearded Brewer IPA. And if you can get there for the official tapping ceremony on Thursday, August 10th, that'd be great. Visit brewers.com/theme night to learn how.
You know, I think we need to get there.
Bearded Brewer IPA, the sooner the better, actually.
It does look tasty. That'll be fun. A couple of real beer experts there who wear Brewers uniforms, Milwaukee Brewers uniforms.
A couple of experts in the booth, too.
That's exactly right. We will not lie. There's Eric Sogard, top of the order here for the Brewers against Max Scherzer, as Sogard slaps one over to Wilmer Defoe for the first out of the inning. With one away in the 6th, there's Eric Thames. His day at the plate presented by Wendy's. Fly ball to left in the 1st inning and an infield single in the 4th. And Eric, he had the historic month of April, and then, as even he told reporters more than once, more than twice, that you just can't expect to keep that pace going. The 11 homers, the 19 RBIs, and yeah, the numbers cooled off, but here in July he is picking things back up, hitting .290. 4-homer month. It's not an all or nothing scenario with Thames here this month. He's getting on base. On base percentage .371 here in the month of July.
Yeah, but you set your bar so high in that first month. I mean, I think people expect a lot of you when you get out of the gates, come out of spring training, hit 11 home runs in the first month. I mean, anything's going to be a disappointment, or people are going to expect a little bit more out of you after that.
The league tried to make adjustments to Thames. You mentioned, you guys talked to him even in spring training, and maybe goal 1 for him was not to chase. And early in the year, that chase rate was way down. His first time through in the big leagues, it was high.
He started to scuff a little bit at the plate, and he started to chase a little bit. Now he's back to swinging at better pitches, swinging at more strikes.
2-strike pitch from Scherzer is fouled off.
Such a mental game. You go up there and you know what you want to do, and sit back there. You get the count. You get to 1-2, 0-2. All of a sudden you're panicking up there at the plate. It happens to everybody.
Jose Lobaton hangs the sign for Scherzer. 0-2 pitch again. Thames fouls it off again. The top 10 in walks is Thames. A ball, 2 strikes. Scherzer rolling along here with the Nationals putting up the huge number on the scoreboard. A 7-run third, a 6-run fourth. These long innings have really not affected Scherzer. The Brewers with 3 hits, the lone run, a Travis Shaw rocket in the 4th inning.
Yeah, Scherzer trying to get Thames to chase. He's not doing it. Sliders down and in, and change ups away. 91 pitches now for Scherzer.
You mentioned it'll be interesting to watch and see how long Baker goes with Scherzer here this afternoon. Nothing doing in the bullpen right now for the Nationals.
Spots due up second in the bottom of this inning. With the way the score is, not sure that matters much.
Full count to Thames, and the payoff on the way. Good at bat here for Eric.
A lot of change-ups and sliders to Thames in this at bat.
10th pitch of the at bat coming up. Ball number 1 down here for Scherzer, and again the 3-2. He walked him. So from 0-2, Thames able to work a walk with 1 out in the 6th.
Yep, fouled off some tough pitches, and Scherzer, with the off-speed stuff, not able to get him to chase, and then miss with a fastball.
Second walk given up by Scherzer. Thames aboard for Domingo Santana. Struck out and grounded into a double play. Scherzer has had long innings where his offense has put up the big numbers. Scherzer also hasn't been retired. He's walked twice and has an infield single.
And sometimes it becomes very difficult, even for a guy like Scherzer, who has all the credentials to pitch with a 14-run lead. I mean, you're kind of in cruise mode. You're not reaching back. You're trying not to exert yourself a whole lot. You want to get that pitch count up. Wouldn't be surprised if this wouldn't be his last inning.
Ball a strike to Domingo Santana.
Yeah, that intensity, sometimes just not there. But not many guys get to work with a 14-run lead.
No, that's some unusual air he is into right now. 2-1 pitch. It was a terrific turnaround in Scherzer's career after the bumpy days with the Diamondbacks. I mentioned that strikeout that he recorded of Peralta in the 5th inning that gave him 200 on the season, and just another stat to show you his consistency. He gives you 30+ starts on an annual basis, and now the 200 strikeouts a half a dozen years straight.
When you look at his last 2 years before this year, 2015, he had 276 punch outs. Last year, 284.
And
I mean, that's mind-boggling. 34 starts.
He's on a very similar pace this season, if not slightly better. Two-two to Santana, and there's another strikeout. 9 of them now for Scherzer. 2 away. With 2 outs, Thames the runner at first. Time for our Crickets something to smile about. When you think of Travis Shaw, as a Brewer fan, you have a lot to smile about. His 24th homer here today. He's just been getting it done all year.
Yeah, that's a 3-0 pitch. Scherzer coming in on him and knocked it out of here right down the right field line. He has not been retired. Walk home run for Travis Shaw. A typical day for him.
He has gotten into the home runs he has hit in this series, going upper deck this afternoon. That's Harper territory here at Nationals Park. It's opened up back in 2008 and will host the All-Star game next July. As we are approaching Hall of Fame weekend, we're very special. Brewers fans, Bud Selig entering the hall. 2 balls, no strikes to Travis Shaw.
I'm sure the commissioner has finally wrapped up his preparation, and we had him on the air last homestand. He said he's gone through 17 different drafts of his speech. And that's interesting because, you know, when Bud talks publicly, he very rarely, if ever, has notes.
Right. That's a good point.
It's all off the cuff.
Yeah.
Good for him. He deserves it.
Yeah, very much so. He was the guy who, brought a lot of ideas, thinking outside the box. That, as a fan of the game, is this going to work? Interleague play, wild cards. It's been huge. Growth of this game. Shaw draws a walk. A couple of walks here given up by Scherzer in the 6th.
And Bud was commissioner in a very difficult time for baseball, the steroid era and all that, having to deal with things like that, the PEDs, and very difficult decisions that he had to make along the way. And I think baseball is much better for what he was able to, those decisions that he made.
I think that and the competitive balance. You're going to have the discrepancy in payroll that exists, but yet this is a sport where the Kansas City Royals raise a championship banner, and you have the Brewers here in the thick, ahead of schedule. Most would tell you in their rebuild and trying to get back to the playoffs where they last visited in 2011.
It was under Bud Selig's watch that the Brewers moved to the National League.
So yeah, it'll be another fun weekend. It's always enjoyable for Brewer fans when someone close to home is involved. There's Matt Grace, one of the lefties available in that Nationals bullpen. Here's Hernan Perez. Perez has struck out, and it'll fly ball to left. Thames the runner at second, Shaw at first, both reaching on walks. 2 strikes and nothing to Hernan Perez. Scherzer gets 10 strikeouts with regularity. A run of 6 straight games of double-digit strikeouts this season. And is on the brink of it in what may be his final inning of work here this afternoon. 0-2 pitch. Even with Strasburg on the DL, Dusty Baker has 2 of the top 3 starters in terms of ERA in the National League. Number 2 is here, Scherzer. Number 3 was last night in Gio Gonzalez. Kershaw number 1. The 0-2. Perez will lift one to left field. Lots of room for Lind. And that'll do it for the Brewers into 6th. They'll strand a couple. A good day's work for Scherzer with his team in full control. It was classic Bob Uecker.
Yeah.
Really was. I'll remember that speech for a couple of reasons. Jose Lobaton leading off. It was also a Hall of Famer, Hal McCoy, a longtime writer for the Dayton Daily News. He's covered the Cincinnati Reds forever, and he's had serious eyesight issues to the point where he was going to quit and did not. And he to this day, he still blogs about the Reds. I remember talking to McCoy about this. This was several months after the Hall of Fame, Rock. Originally, Uecker was going to give his speech first and then Hal McCoy. McCoy said, look, wrong order.
Right.
Let's do this the other way around. And McCoy gave a very heartwarming speech, his love of the game, and how Aaron Boone, I believe it was Aaron Boone at the time, talked McCoy into not quitting and to staying with it. He gave his speech. And then Uecker gets up there and says, boy, how people tried to get me to quit. I mean, it was the perfect order.
Yeah, right.
It was a great day. And two very deserving members, obviously, of the Hall of Fame.
I still see Hal around the ballpark in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I remember those days when he was having some vision problems. It went really bad. That was a while ago, but yeah. I mean, it's tough to follow the Bob Uecker act.
It really is. I can't say I know Hal personally. Really, I had a chance to talk to him a couple of times, but read him forever growing up in Ohio. And we're looking at Enny Romero, by the way, warming up in the Nationals bullpen. Yet another left-hander. As Jose Lobaton leads things off. But yeah, McCoy's been writing for years and years in Ohio. There's a pop-up. Going out there is Travis Shaw, and he dropped the ball.
And there's an error.
Yeah, there it is. The streak will end.
Who would have thought that would be the way the streak ends for Travis? Well, Perez got there. And one of those days, I mean, it's about kind of keep drifting back. Look at Perez, he's coming in, but Shaw calls him off. He just kicks it. He just drops it, and that'll be an error on Travis Shaw. Unfortunate way for that streak to end for him.
It is, but if there is any silver lining, it's in a 14-run game. It's not in a one-run game in the 8th inning or 9th inning, but it does. This reminds us, I guess maybe I jinxed him. You can blame me, but 69 straight without an error, and he, like any third baseman, you're going to handle your share of rockets over there.
Right.
So good run. Very good run.
Outstanding. I mean, as consistent as anybody on this team has been all season long.
Andrew Stevenson pinch hitting here for Scherzer. His day is over. Stevenson, a 23-year-old, made his debut in the big leagues on Sunday. Second-round draft pick a couple of years ago out of LSU. Started the season in Double-A in Harrisburg and moved up to Triple-A Syracuse. Like many, when he got the call, he didn't recognize the number and wasn't sure whether to believe it at first. But the Nats over the weekend hit with more injuries, specifically to Chris Heisey, Ryan Rayburn on the bereavement list. They needed an outfielder. Runs pretty well. Play all over in the outfield, they say.
Everybody remembers when they get the first call to go to the big leagues. I mean, it might be a call, it might be they trip into the AAA manager's office where you get the information. Some managers can be pretty creative with that call to you. I was actually in Vancouver on an off day. We had an off day. I got a call from then interim manager Sam Simplizio and told me that we were in Vancouver and said you got to get to Texas. I said, what's in Texas? I said the Brewers.
The baseball team?
Yeah. Had no idea. Although Ted Simmons, Charlie Moore, Ned Yost all ailing. They were all hurt. They were all hurting, and I got the call and never forget it.
The grass just cut a little bit better. The lines look a little brighter, right?
Yeah.
All the baseballs are nice, clean, ready to go.
Walking into that clubhouse in Arlington, Texas, the old ballpark. Looking around, and there's Raleigh Fingers and Don Sutton and Molitor Yount, Vukovic, Ogilvy.
And Schroeder.
I almost turned around and left.
So what am I doing here?
Is this the right spot? Yeah, it's quite the shock to the system when you first do that.
So they often say in sports that you get over it the first at bat or the first ball hit to you. Is that true? I mean, that seems a little quick when you take a look around.
Once you get on the field, I mean, once you get the uniform on, you run out on the field and you start taking batting practice, infield practice, and then it becomes you're playing baseball again. Until you're facing some of those big league pitchers that you have to face, then you realize you're not in AAA anymore.
Throw some nasty stuff up here, don't they?
Yeah.
2 balls a strike to Brian Goodwin.
But it's always good, I had a couple of spring trainings under my belt and got to know these guys a little bit.
Well, it's a timely story with this team because we're seeing Lewis Brinson get his second call up as Goodwin hits this one well. Right field, and it's off the wall. Lobaton on his way to third. Goodwin to second with a double. He was making a bid for his second big fly of the day. Another scoring threat going on here for the Nationals.
I do remember landing in Arlington, Texas, and it was a game. It was a game that day. I think I landed about 4:30. Couldn't find my luggage. I mean, in all honesty, I had my suitcase, my baseball bag, and here I am. I'm landing in Arlington, Texas. I'm trying to race to the ballpark. Turned out I was in the starting lineup. I didn't get there till like 6:30.
Who needs the warm-up routine, huh? Just go. Of course it happens like that, right?
I got scratched from the lineup.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to catch that day because I guess Harvey Keene thought, wow, the guy just got here. I mean, let him catch his breath a bit, but I had to track down my luggage and jump into a cab, and
of course all this happens as my dream is coming true.
Right.
Can't find the
and
bag.
most people would say, well, why didn't you just go to the ballpark without your suitcase? Well, I had my cleats, I had my gloves, I had all that stuff, all my protective gear.
Kind of come in handy if you want to play. Yeah.
You can't catch a game with a brand new catcher's mitt, so you had to make sure you had your baseball stuff.
Do have your protective gear. There's a soft liner off the bat of Defoe. That's out number 2.
But I caught the next day.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
And it was an historic career.
You were part of it. You were part of it, my
friend. It was a lot of
friend.
fun, I tell you.
Yeah.
The relationships that you develop, they still continue, and a fraternity. Nothing's more important than that.
That's what it seems you and everybody says. Obviously, if you're on a championship team, you remember that, but I always hear guys, if it's Robin Yount, any of the greats who you get a chance to visit with, it's the guys, being with the guys. And here's Bryce Harper sending one into deep right center field. The park will hold it this time as Brinson at the edge of the track will make the catch. He's hit 2 bombs and was threatening for a third, but turn back this time as we move to the 7th at Nationals Park. Afternoon for the Brewers. We move to the 7th inning. Nats in total command. Hey, Brewers fans, if you can't watch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. Download the app, take Fox Sports Wisconsin and Brewers baseball with you wherever you go. Changes now. Andrew Stevenson staying in the game. He will handle things out in center field. Brian Goodwin moving from center to right. Day has ended for Bryce Harper. Good day it was for Harper. And on the mound now is Enny Romero, hard throwing left-hander out of the bullpen for the Nationals.
Yeah, 1 of 5 out there for Dusty Baker. 5 left-handers. He's got 3 right-handers to go with. You know, those 5 lefties. 43rd appearance and a .363 earned run average. More strikeouts than innings pitched. 19 walks, 52 strikeouts for Enny Romero.
26-year-old out of the Dominican Republic gets it up there in a hurry, and this is his first work, Rock mentioned, since the weekend, and he dealt with a back spasm in that game. There was a game that where the Nationals won handily over the Diamondbacks, but there were multiple causes for concern. The short outing for Strasburg, and then Romero, a little back issue. But appears to be fine and back in there this afternoon. There's one other change here for the Nats. Adrian Sanchez at second. And there for Daniel Murphy. Ball a strike to Jonathan Villar. Leading off the 7th inning. Couple of strikeouts today for Johnny. Scherzer goes 6 and strikes out 9 along the way. Just 3 hits and a run. The run, a Travis Shaw homer. Villar throws his bat out there and pops it up. It'll be Defoe for the catch, out number 1. The Nats came back to town having won 7 of 9 on their most recent road trip. Their homestand will continue this weekend. They will host the Rockies.
There'll be some fireworks in that series, some home run hitters.
Yes, sir. The Rockies acquiring Pat Neshek last night from the Phillies. Some minor leaguers. There's Lewis Brinson at the plate. We saw the Phillies over the weekend, and Neshek's name was being thrown around quite a bit. All-star year for the Madison, Wisconsin-born Pat Neshek. And Brinson hits this one well, left field, and there's number 2 in the career of Lewis Brinson.
Well, he has no problem turning on that fastball. That was 97 miles an hour. Up in the zone, and boy, he's a different hitter already than he was when he first came up. Second home run for Lewis Brinson, and both of them no doubters. Watch the quick hands, up and in, and barrels it up. He knew it. Boy, big and tall, and he's got that leverage. That ball just jumps off his bat. Knocks one over the Brewers bullpen.
We are seeing why he is such a highly regarded prospect. We know what the score is and all of that, but if you're Lewis Brinson, if it's a 14-run game or a tie game in the 8th, you're trying to carve a niche.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, you're trying to figure out a way to stay in the big leagues. That's what you're doing. Doesn't matter who's out there on the mound, what the score is. Every time you can make contact like that, you bet.
Good for him. Said it last night. You hope it's the first of many for Lewis Brinson, and doesn't waste much time, hitting his 2nd in the big leagues. 2 strikes and nothing to Jet Bandy. Talk about that outfield talent that the Brewers have. They moved one of their prospects to the White Sox and Ryan Cordell. Brett Phillips sent back to Colorado Springs. Feeling that might not be for long. doing some nice things up here. There's a roller over to Defoe, and that is out number 2.
Yeah, he was starting to swing the bat well. Got a couple of hits on Friday, a couple of home runs. Yeah, he'll be back.
Two men outs here in the 7th. Chance for Orlando Arcia to get to the plate. He'll pinch hit. He's had a pretty good road trip. You see what he's done in this series. He is 10 for 31 on this trip. It's been a very rough ride. This 10-game, 11-day swing for the Brewers, but along the way, Arcia still continues to hit.
Batting average over 280. The Brewers would still like him to be a little bit more patient at the plate. He loves, to attack early in the count. First, second, third pitch. He's really handled the number 8 spot in the batting order pretty well for a young hitter. Sometimes it can be a challenge hitting in front of the pitcher.
We see the numbers for Arcia on this road trip. Well, the results were tough for the Crew, but it wasn't like they played poorly in Pittsburgh. They ran into some really good pitching. It stings maybe as much as anything when you drop 2 out of 3 to the Phillies. They ran into a Phillies team that been playing a little bit better. Aaron Nola was terrific last Friday. They end up splitting the season series with the Phils. They knew coming into here was going to be tough. Full count now to Arcia. Romero rearing back, let that fly at 99. Originally signed with the Rays back in 08, did Romero. Brewers getting both of their runs via the long ball today. Travis Shaw in the 4th and Brinson here in the 7th. Blazek had the spot start, and the Nationals went after him in record-breaking fashion with the home runs. Payoff pitch to Arcia. Back up the middle, off the glove of Romero, and they will still get the play at first. Sanchez off the deflection, and that will do it here for the Brewers. In the 7th, Lewis Brinson, though, with a bright spot for the Crew. His second homer in as many games. Stretch time in D.C.
Park. 15-2. The Nationals have the lead over the Brew Crew. Hey, today's time of the game winner, Pagan Docks Bar and Grill in Dane. If they call the Brewers by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, they get 40 tickets to a Friday night game in the Miller Lite Beer Pen. It's offered courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite. Still having fun here in Washington.
Yeah, they are. They're hanging in at the ballpark. A lot worse places to be on a summer afternoon. Oliver Drake now on the mound for the Crew as we move to the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, he pitched on Tuesday against the Nats. An inning and a third. He finished the game, gave up a couple of hits. Inning and a third scoreless in the Brewers' 8-0 victory.
The changes here for the Brewers. Arcia stays in the game. And Eric Sogard slides over to third. Ryan Zimmerman is homered twice here today. He was the 4th of 4 in a row to go deep in the 3rd inning. He ended up going 5 out of 6 out of the ballpark. They have hit 8 home runs today. Harper with 2. Zimmerman 2. Leading the way. A 17-hit attack for Washington. They have just unleashed here against the Brewers on this Thursday afternoon. Get it out of your system. So the Rockies coming in, they may want to save some of those runs. Brewers still have to make the trip out there. We mentioned this a tough trip. It's not the last tough trip that the Crew has. Still have to go to Dodger Stadium as well as Colorado. Trip to San Francisco. The Giants, though, have just had a terrible year. But you don't say that very much
right
in this era. Bruce Bochy at the helm there. How about that? They're 40 and 63.
Well, they finally got Madison Bumgarner back. He was out quite a while.
He was with the accidents he had a couple months ago. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Ryan Zimmerman. And that's hit well left field, and right there to grab it is Hernan Perez for out number 1. So the Cubs and the White Sox finish their home and home. Will enter that game up a full game, barring a comeback for the ages. Here's Adrian Sanchez. Came up, had his first taste of the big leagues on June 30th against the Cardinals. Trey Turner fractured a wrist, hit by a pitch a day earlier. We'll see if Drake can get through this 7th inning unscathed. Believe it or not, there was an inning where the Nationals did go down in order. That was the second. Couple of strikeouts and a fly ball.
Yeah, Blazek had a good changeup that inning, striking out Rendon. Lynn got Lobaton on a fly ball, and then the 3rd inning came around, and that was a disaster for Michael Blazek.
Yeah, the Nationals hanging 2 7-run innings in the last 2 games. 8th inning last night and the 3rd today.
And a 6-run inning.
That's right. It was in the 4th. Counsell and Derek Johnson just trying to do what they can to get this team through this game and get ready for the Cubbies. Counsell making the comments yesterday that this acquisition of Anthony Swarzak, it means we're trying to get into the playoffs, something that you might not have expected to hear out of the Brewers manager going back to opening day as Sanchez goes back up the middle. And that is hit number 18 for the Nationals this afternoon.
And got a fastball upstairs and he banged it right back through the middle.
There he is, the newest Brewer. Anthony Swarzak, a breakthrough year for him, the 31-year-old. As David Stearns pointed out a couple days ago, or yesterday actually, different guys break through at different points of their career, and this year has been that year for Swarzak.
Yeah, you got to figure, you know, if Craig Counsell wants to even bring him in a game like this.
Here's Anthony Rendon. Rendon, a homer, a double, a walk, as you see here today. Count is even, a ball to strike. Oliver Drake, third man out of the bullpen this afternoon for the Brewers. Peralta struggled mightily. Torres, a couple of innings where he kept the Nats off the scoreboard.
Yeah, you got to wonder what the Brewers are thinking going forward with Willie. Brewers have given him a number of opportunities to get things right. Very disappointing outing today.
Yeah, it's unfortunately been the story. It was encouraging on Sunday and then a step in the wrong direction today, and it's tough because everybody, you pull for a guy like Peralta, but it's just been tough to get that consistency from him that this team dearly needs. Ball, 2 strikes. Oliver Drake working against Anthony Rendon. And there's a punch out for Drake. 2 men outs here in the 7th. Adam Lind. Healthy batting average that he has, continues to patrol left field effectively. He has all series. Hit 20 homers for the Mariners last year. 32,000 plus here at Nationals Park today, at 35,000 last night. Why not? Their team's in first. Heads up in the crowd. That was a rocket headed over to the seats. Cino actually plays better on the road, which is interesting.
Oh, not too bad at home, but even better on the road. The
Brewers up to this current road trip, they've traveled well. That has turned in a bad way here on this 10-game swing.
Yeah, lost today, and the Brewers are going to be 500 away from Miller Park.
Yeah, after what would end up being a 2-8 trip. They had among the best records in the National League away from Milwaukee. But the Brewer fans hanging tough. Today's a bad day, but it has been a good year so far, and we'll see how these final 2 months and change unfold
Haven't been too many of these lopsided losses for the Brewers. I mean, there you see what the Brewers have in front of them. Cubs, Cardinals coming in. And a road trip, Tampa Bay and Minnesota.
And all but the Reds are playoff contenders as you look at that schedule.
And then toward the end of August and into September, that long road trip.
Yes, sir. A strikeout for Oliver Drake. It's a couple of them here in the 7th. We'll move on to inning number 8. The Nats leading 15-2. Rock, your thoughts?
I thought he was talking about Teddy Roosevelt didn't win an election.
That's what I thought. I got
like a race early on in his political career, but kind of threw me a curve right there. That's good stuff, Jeff.
As always.
He was into conservation, Western expansion. Yeah, that's about all I know about Teddy.
There you go. That's
he liked to hunt. I know that.
That's good work again.
He
Jeff
loved
Brinson.
going out to South Dakota.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As Matt, I think he likes to hunt as well. 24th appearance for Grace. Gets a lot of ground ball outs.
Yes,
Not a hard thrower.
Yeah, 62% ground ball rate, as a matter of fact. Former UCLA Bruin.
And Teddy Roosevelt was big into establishing national parks.
Yes. Look at you, the historian, Bill Schroeder.
You ever been to South Dakota? He liked it out there. Badlands and Deadwood.
I have. It was a brief trip. It was for a basketball game, so really didn't get to explore a whole lot. But no, not for a sightseeing trip.
And Teddy Roosevelt loved it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How many times have you been there?
Once.
Okay.
Pretty mundane drive from the Twin Cities to South Dakota. You know, the Badlands out there. I think you know you travel for about 6 hours and you never move your steering wheel. It's straight as a string.
Little autopilot.
Go by the Corn Palace.
Mm-hmm.
Wall drug.
All those landmarks all set, huh?
Right.
Yep.
Hey, I didn't bring up Teddy Roosevelt. He did.
Hey, no, but you followed up. That's big time. So Sometimes you got to drift a bit in a 13-run game. Sogard with a ground ball to Defoe, and there's the first out of the inning.
I was just sent a text by Jeff. He said that the speed limit on I-90 out in that neck of the woods is 80 miles an hour.
He would know. He would know. So as you make your plans for your next vacation, know you can hit the pedal pretty good. Headed out that way. Lean on it a little bit. There's Eric Thames.
And as Ed Cedar, the third base coach for the Brewers, would say, an 80 is just a recommendation.
That's right. It's just a suggestion.
Just a suggestion.
Do what you want. There he is. Sir Edward Cedar.
He's kind of lonely out there today.
Yeah, it has been, unfortunately. But you're around the game for any length of time. You're going to be on the good side of this. You're going to be on the bad side of this.
Yep. It's one of those stretches that the Brewers have to press on.
Remember, it was earlier this month that Joe Madden turned to John Jay to work an inning because the Brewers were putting the beat down on the Cubs. It was an 11-2 game on July 6th. They built that big lead early. That was the makeup game. A rain out in May. Rain out followed by sunburn in Chicago. But I loved how this Brewers team turned what really setting up to be an annoying trip. When you go to Yankee Stadium to take you into the All-Star break, they turned it into a positive, and they were turning it that way before the game. It's easy after the fact to say, yeah, it was all right, but Counsell in the game before they bust down to Chicago say, hey, we're playing well, let's go, let's keep doing this. And you know, the pitching staff actually had set up well. The bullpen was set up well. Wasn't stretched thin going into that one and done in Chicago and on into New York.
Yeah, remember before that one game in Chicago, they swept the Orioles.
That's right.
At home.
They did. And the other thing to keep in mind, they've had that guy about half the year. Probably not in the lineup here today, and really no need to see him this afternoon. Like to see a lot of them at Miller Park beginning tomorrow night.
Just such a different look to that lineup when he's in there. Nobody knows that more than he does.
Well, you and BA have talked about it multiple times, and with good reason. I'm hard pressed to find many players with a prettier swing in baseball than Ryan Braun. Aims a strikeout, a foul tip. Stays in the mitt, and there are two men out of the 8th inning.
And a hitter that affects the lineup more than Braun does, based on how, you know, pitchers pitch to guys around Braun when he's in there, guys in front of him, behind him in the lineup. I mean, everybody benefits when Braun is in there, and he knows that.
Glove in hand, Ryan Braun. There's Domingo Santana. Santana hit cleanup on Monday. Counsell shuffled the deck in the lineup, going left, right down the line against Edwin Jackson. And it was Santana handling that well. Braun moved up to the 2-hole and was eager to do that at an extra at bat. Santana with a ground ball over to Defoe, and he makes good on this opportunity as well, as the Brewers are retired in order. Still 15-2 game. Yeah, hold the thought on the story there is, yep, you're looking at Hernan Perez, who is on the mound. Now for the Brewers, as he will face Jose Lobaton. Well, Rocca, you had a chat with Hernan a while ago, and he's ready to catch if needed. He's the emergency catcher. This is something a manager doesn't want to do.
Especially Craig Counsell. He hates this.
Right.
But I mean, he really has no choice. Down by 14 for 13 runs here in the 8th inning. So, I mean, this is kind of a no-brainer when you consider the Brewers have a big series coming up at home. So you would think that Counsell was able to get through this game with 3 relievers.
Lobaton with a fly ball out to Eric Thames, who moves from first to left field, and 1 up, 1 down for Hernan Perez.
These guys, position players, they throw under hitting speed, and hitters have an awfully difficult time waiting back.
Gets caught up on the changes here. Jesus Aguilar over at first. I mentioned the Brewers faced John Jay earlier this month. Now the Nationals face Hernan Perez. 83 there outside. Hernan, a smile on his face as he popped out of the dugout. But yeah, I agree with you, Rocky. Your Counsell, you are hating this.
No, this is not something he likes to do.
No.
And only an emergency, which I would imagine this would be categorized as one.
Works with tempo, didn't that? Stevenson, a line drive and a base hit to right field. As Stevenson reaches.
This is his first big league hit.
Yeah, there it is.
Off a position player, not ideal, but he'll take it.
Andrew Stevenson reaches against Perez, who now works against the top of the order, and Brian Goodwin. And he has put together a big time game for himself. A couple of doubles, a 2-run homer. He started the home run barrage in the 5th inning. Back to back to back to back, 4 straight. They hit 8 bombs prior to the 5th inning, and that has never happened in Major League history until today. 2 balls, 1 strike. Well, the Brewers have had to put on a movie like this in the past. To go back a few years ago, Lyle Overbay was called upon in 2014 as Goodwin reaches on a walk. What do you do if you're a position player getting ready to pitch? Well, for the answer to that, let's check in with Sophia.
Well, this isn't the move that manager Craig Counsell wanted to make, but Hernan Perez is always a gamer. He was ready to go. He came over to me and said, a big smile on his face, hey, are you ready? Indicated that he was going to be coming in to pitch in this game. And so he spent some time actually talking with Chase Anderson. Manny Pena talked to him for a while as well. He did some stretching in here in the dugout. So, this isn't the move that Counsell wanted to make. But Perez, he'll take advantage of this opportunity.
Well, we have said this, and, wherever you want him to play, he will gladly do it. He'll catch if need be. Counsell really doing everything he can to avoid that. You don't want to do this. There's a ground ball over to Aguilar. The flip for 1 on to first, not in time. 3-6.
You know what you like. I mean, this is something that you don't normally see, but I remember in a Cubs game when John Jay was out there, the Cubs were getting beat pretty good, and there was a lot of laughing and backslapping and having a good time in that Cubs dugout. You don't see any of that in that Brewers dugout.
No.
These guys are locked in. They realize that they have had a bad day at the plate, and there is no fun being had right now.
No, and this is a sport where it's pretty hard to be 2 up or 2 down, but love to see this team cop an attitude going into the weekend. There's a fly ball out to Eric Thames, and Hernan Perez records a scoreless inning. Well done, young man. Still 15-2 Nationals. Move to the ninth. Sports Wisconsin, presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Let the games begin. To the 9th inning, but let's get to our Badger Mutual plays of the game as the Nationals teed off at the expense of Michael Blazek. Back to back to back to back. 4 straight and 5 out of 6 after they got a fly ball off of Rendon. Zimmerman, or Rendon rather, went deep after Murphy flied out. 5 home runs in the 4th inning, in the 3rd inning, I should say. And here are some of the numbers that the Nationals have put up. 4 straight homers. That's actually happened with 7 other teams. 6 different players have gone deep. 2 homer games here today for Harper and Zimmerman. That, in a nutshell, is your story of this Thursday afternoon. New pitcher here looking to finish this one off is Matt Albers.
Yeah, pretty good numbers, right? I mean, Albers 37th appearance and 178 earned run average. Another guy with more strikeouts than innings pitched.
Jesus Aguilar lifts a fly ball out toward Adam Lind, and he continues to squeeze everything hit his way. Let's check out what's on tap, presented by Miller Lights. New day tomorrow, new series tomorrow as Jose Quintana and the Chicago Cubs come to town. This will be a good matchup. Quintana has given the Cubs staff a lift. Brent Suter has done likewise for the Brew Crew, and we'll get it rolling tomorrow at 6:30 here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Suter very good in his last outing. He's been pretty good in the rotation.
Yep, a lot of off-speed stuff tomorrow at Miller Park.
First pitch swinging. Perez, a roller to Defoe, and there are 2 up, 2 down in the 9th. This is one you just wad up and throw in the trash.
Yeah.
Move on to tomorrow.
Could have done that after the 4th inning.
Have themselves a good series against the Cubs, and this one maybe gets forgotten sooner than later. There is Jonathan VR. Brawny back in the lineup. Get Matt Garza healthy on the 10-day deal with the leg strain. Zach Davies, he was outstanding in this series opener. 7 2/3. Brewers won the opener here on Tuesday night, 8-0.
Amazing how many runs he gets.
It is.
Zach Davies. I mean, as difficult as it's been for the Brewers to score on this road trip, they put up an 8th spot in his start on Tuesday.
Just incredible how the complexion of this series has turned. VR sends one down the line and left, and that'll carry foul.
In 1 inning, 8th inning yesterday.
It was 2-1 Brewers going into the bottom of the 8th inning. Jimmy Nelson sailing along, and then a leadoff walk to Matt Wieters and exit Nelson. The bullpen had some bad luck, yes, and then some hard hit balls as well. And it all turned. Nationals winning last night and getting a blowout here this afternoon. And yet they will be just 1 game outs. The Cubs play the White Sox tonight. So at worst a game and a half. At best nothing changes. The White Sox can win. It's still just a half game. VR, a soft liner to Rendon, and this game mercifully is over. Whatever could have gone wrong did for the Brewers this afternoon. And the Nationals show why they are a very, very dangerous team in the National League moving forward. These two teams will meet again early September at Miller Park. It's over. Nats take 2 out of 3 as they win in very convincing fashion this afternoon. Let's send it to Jeff Grayson, ready to go in our Fox Sports Wisconsin studio.